0709 drill sergeants truly are a proud example of our Army. They will undoubtedly transform the next generation of civilian volunteers into soldiers who are fully capable of defeating any enemy on today's modern battlefield. A drill sergeant is the most challenging and rewarding assignment a non-commissioned officer will ever experience. They must transform civilians into soldiers and prepare those soldiers to fight and win in today's complex world. Ladies and gentlemen, identified by their distinctive headgear are the drill sergeant leaders who are responsible for the training and mentoring of the drill sergeants graduating today. Drill sergeant leaders instruct the force in small groups of 20 candidates on average. They are highly motivated, professional, and seasoned drill sergeants who have a minimum of 1 year experience in the basic combat training environment from any of the 4 training centers. They were hand-selected to serve as drill sergeant leaders as a result of demonstrating expert leadership, mastery of warrior tasks and battle drills, and consistently performing at the top 1% of their peers. In addition, all have completed the 54-day Trade-Off Drill Sergeant Leader Certification Program. Please join me in a round of applause for their hard work and dedication.
Forward, march!
Ladies and gentlemen, the Commandant of the United States Army Drill Sergeant Academy, Command Sergeant Major Michael L. Berry.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, Major General McQueen, Command Sergeant Major Riddick, Command Sergeant Major Stump, Commanders, Command Sergeants Majors, distinguished guests, friends, and family. On behalf of the Center of Initial Military Training Command, to Major General Frost and Command Sergeant Major Mitchell, the Fort Jackson Command Team, Major General Johnson, and Command Sergeant Major Christian, I'd like to welcome you to today's graduation ceremony. We are extremely thankful that you will take your time out of your busy schedule to honor these graduates. I'd like to extend a special welcome to the families of members of the graduates who are in attendance today. Your presence here is a confirmation of your support not only to your graduates, but to all soldiers here at Fort Jackson and throughout the Army. It is said, the true soldier fights not because he hates what's in front of him, but because he loves what is left behind. Your unwavering support and love provides us with the purpose to achieve success in training and in combat. To our graduates, you must realize that now the challenge has truly began. You'll be making a strategic contribution to our Army, training and preparing a future force to meet the unpredictable challenges our nation faces every day. As you strive for excellence, as you all should, I leave you with this. Excellence is the result of caring more than others think is wise, risking more than others think is safe, dreaming more than others think is practical, and expecting more than others think is possible. Today, we are honored to have an exceptional leader here with us to share some words of wisdom and insight. He understands the importance of leadership, mentorship, and discipline. He has led formations and organizations with vision and compassion, as he truly cares about soldiers and their families. Our guest speaker has excelled throughout his distinguished career and served in a vast number of key leadership positions, and is currently the commanding general for the 108 Training Command headquarters in Charlotte, North Carolina. His full bio can be found in today's graduation program. It is my honor and distinct privilege to introduce a stout and resolute supporter of the drill sergeant program, Major General Mark T. McQueen.
So Command Sergeant Major Berry, Command Sergeant Major Reedy, Command Sergeant Major Stubbs, Sergeant Major Thompson, and other distinguished leaders and guests, families, friends, and drill sergeant graduates, welcome to today's graduation ceremony. I do want to pause before I get into my remarks and acknowledge the exceptional performance by the 282nd Army Band that has never wavered in its support. Thank you all. Join me in welcoming them. Thank you. You know, today is another significant day in the glorious history of the United States Army. And before I speak to the graduates, I take this moment to acknowledge the investment of Command Sergeant Major Berry and his team of professional drill sergeant leaders and instructors who have invested themselves well in the training and teaching the professional standards resident in the drill sergeant school. You see, for over 60 days, they have given their best advice, training, and counsel to prepare each drill sergeant candidate of Class 00218 to be able to train America's sons and daughters, to take citizen volunteers and mold and shape them into the revered title of being called an American soldier. To Command Sergeant Major Berry and his team of professionals at the Drill Sergeant School, I commend you for a job well done. To the families and friends supporting our honored graduates as they embark on the most challenging of duties of being the United States Army Drill Sergeant, I simply say thank you. You see, during the past 2 months while your loved one was undergoing the most rigorous training at Fort Jackson in South Carolina, it was you who maintained and sustained your homes. And you did so with love and respect for what your soldier was doing to become a better non-commissioned officer and leader. You see, it is you that also has a significant investment in today's graduates. And you can stand proud knowing our Army and our nation will be even better because of your loved ones stepping out and stepping up to begin serving on the trail. So I thank you. I thank you for your support and your sacrifice and for your love and for all you do to build our Army and the nation's might. Let us all join in thanking our families for what they do. So as I was traveling here last night, I stepped onto a plane which had about 10 or so young men and women who were traveling to Columbia, South Carolina to begin the journey of becoming a soldier. They were a pretty chatty group, as you might expect, full of excitement and anxiety as they inched closer to the institution called the United States Army. And I'm sure they were wondering what lay before them. And it was clear they had heard much about what they were about to experience. And some talked about how they understood that upon arrival, they would have to remain awake for up to 36 hours as they entered into the Army. Some talked about the rigors of the training they were about to endure. Some spoke of the difficulty of doing push-ups and running and ruck marching. As they stepped off the plane, they continued to be pretty talkative as they were walking through and clearing the security zone at TSA. As they rounded the corner near the USO station, they saw a drill sergeant with about another 20 or so young people standing in two ranks, quiet and at ease, while holding a large manila envelope. The group I was walking behind became quiet, and they realized that they had arrived. Every one of them wondered about the first person that they would meet, the icon of what the Army was all about, the person that they would put their complete trust and indeed their life into the care of, the United States Army Drill Sergeant. As drill sergeants, you are a symbol of what the Army is and what it stands for. For these young recruits, it was you are their first impression, which will be their lasting impression of the decision that they made to join America's team. When they arrive a little later at their respective Army training centers, they will meet you, their drill sergeant, America's gatekeeper to building America's might, indeed, the United States Army. And I suspect everyone in this room who has served in the Army remembers their drill sergeant. And I have to tell you, I do, from 36 years ago. And it was Sergeant First Class Taylor. He was that person for me. See, in my estimation, the drill sergeant is the embodiment of the professional standards that we espouse in the United States Army. The drill sergeant not only holds to the highest of standards in word and deed, but teaches others how they too can embrace these standards. The drill sergeant is the standard bearer for what life looks like. The drill sergeant is the one who personifies the hollowed words that General MacArthur spoke of at West Point: duty, honor, and country. Words have meaning, and that is no less the case when describing the drill sergeant. Words like professional, soldier, warrior, non-commissioned officer, leader, coach, mentor, trainer, and champion. Where in all you do, you display courage, character, confidence, and commitment. You symbolize the essence of the standards-based profession of arms, personifying what is firm, fair, and consistent. You are a master of the field craft of being a soldier, not only knowing the task, but instructing citizen volunteers in everything from the proper wear of the Army's uniform to how to shoot, move, and communicate, to being a disciplined American soldier ready to serve a nation and protecting the Constitution of the United States. This will defend. In this day and time, we are privileged to be part of an institution which has done more good for more people than any other army. And indeed, you are part of the greatest army the world has ever seen in the history of the world. And what sets us apart from all other armies, is the non-commissioned officer corps, and indeed the highest standard bearer, the Army Drill Sergeant. Leaders who have been placed in enormous positions of trust and is values-based. You see, our values, loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. It is you who will instill these values into citizen volunteers who have been charged in training and transforming into soldiers all of these Army values. And I believe of all of these is the value of respect that is probably the most important. Certainly other values, in particular integrity, are foundational to what we all are as leaders, but it's the one word in the middle which I believe stands out most: respect. Respect for the institution of our Army. Respect for the standards, the legacy, and traditions that we hold to. Respect to our fellow soldiers for themselves, and respect for their drill sergeant. If you only remember one thing from my remarks today, is this: never do anything that disrespects or brings discredit to the institution, our heritage, or our Army. Instead, I challenge you to be a leader. Be the one that stands up for what's right, and invest well in those who are beginning to pass the torch to of being a professional American soldier. Be America's drill sergeant. So in closing, let me just say that you are joining an elite fraternity of professionals. You see, everyone in the Army is able to claim the soldier's creed, and many can espouse the NCO creed. But it is you, our honored drill sergeant candidates, and indeed our graduates today, that have the privilege of owning the drill sergeant creed. Live it, own it, honor it every single day. Again, I thank all of you for your attendance at today's ceremony, and a hearty congratulations to our graduates. I truly appreciate all your contributions and your dedication to training the future of our Army and keeping our nation's future bright. God bless our nation, our Army, and our soldiers. This will defend Army strong.
During the graduation ceremony, please feel free to come forward and take photographs at any time. Please use the area provided at the front right of the auditorium in order to keep the aisles clear during the ceremony. The Drill Sergeant Academy would like to recognize supporters of the cycle for their professionalism and dedication to excellence in support of the unit's total mission. Presenting the supporter awards is Drill Sergeant Leader Justin Myers. The dining facility supporter of the cycle is Ms. Jackson. Ms. Jackson helped to ensure the graduates were well fed and taken care of during the course. The staff supporter of the cycle is Staff Sergeant Munoz. His behind-the-scenes attention to detail kept training on track with limited distractions. At the Drill Sergeant Academy, it is tradition to appropriately recognize those who have distinguished themselves by their outstanding performance. In keeping with this tradition, the following awards are presented. The Drill Sergeant Leader of the Cycle is the drill sergeant leader who displayed the highest contribution to the entire platoon, created an impeccable learning environment, and displayed a standard for all drill sergeants to follow. For Class 002-18, the Drill Sergeant Leader of the Cycle is Drill Sergeant Leader Justin Myers. Please join me in a round of applause for the Drill Sergeant Leader of the Cycle. At this time, Deputy Senior Drill Sergeant Leader Hicks will now assist Senior Drill Sergeant Leader Harvey in presenting the graduating class with their distinctive headgear. The honor graduate is the candidate who displayed the highest of standards in testable academic subjects, Army physical fitness tests, and demonstrated exceptional leadership ability. The distinguished honor graduate, member of the Commandant's List, is Drill Sergeant Eduardo Rivas, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. The Leadership Award is presented to the candidate who has displayed the highest degree of professionalism and demonstrated sound judgment while performing in leadership positions. The Leadership Award recipient, a member of the Commandant's List, is Drill Sergeant Carl Marina, Fort Sill, Oklahoma. The Iron Drill Sergeant Award is given to the male and female candidates who have displayed the highest degree of physical fitness during the Army Physical Fitness Test. The Iron Drill Sergeant Award recipient for the males is Drill Sergeant Rafael Mendez, Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. Out of a possible 300 points, Drill Sergeant Mendez scored 298 points. The Iron Drill Sergeant Award recipient and member of the Commandant's List for the females is Drill Sergeant Grace Glenn, Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. Out of a possible 300 points, Drill Sergeant Lynn scored 293 points. Each awardee will be presented with a token of appreciation and support for exceeding the standard while in the course. The Drill Sergeant Academy would like to express a sincere gratitude to AUSA and First Command for donating these awards. Please join me in a round of applause for the awardees.
Over. March.
The following drill sergeants have exceeded the course standards, demonstrated exceptional physical fitness, and maintained a grade point average in the top 20% of their graduating class. For these achievements, they are rightfully placed on the Commandant's List. Drill Sergeant Rebecca Barnhill, Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. Drill Sergeant Andrew Flynn, Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. Drill Sergeant Jonathan Knapp, Fort Benning, Georgia. Drill Sergeant Nathaniel Lucanville, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Drill Sergeant Robert Metz, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Drill Sergeant James Malik, Fort Benning, Georgia. Drill Sergeant Christopher Working, Fort Benning, Georgia. Drill Sergeant Odom Smith, Fort Benning, Georgia. Sergeant William Swords, Fort Benning, Georgia. Please join me in a round of applause for the Commandant's list. Ladies and gentlemen, the following drill sergeants have been designated graduates of Class 002-18. Please hold your applause and cheering until the last graduate is acknowledged. Drill Sergeant Kevin Allen, 108 Training Command. Drill Sergeant Charles Bell, Fort Benning, Georgia. Drill Sergeant Justin Bombard, 108 Training Command. Drill Sergeant Jonathan Bowler, 108 Training Command. Drill Sergeant Jasmine Brantley, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Drill Sergeant Kimberly Carlin, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Drill Sergeant John Coffin, Fort Benning, Georgia. Drill Sergeant Tiana Clark, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Drill Sergeant Cassandra Cobb, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Drill Sergeant Kate Cole, Fort Benning, Georgia. Drill Sergeant David Cordero, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Drill Sergeant Eric Crittenden, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Drill Sergeant Adam Crowley, Fort Benning, Georgia. Drill Sergeant Clint Courier, Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. Drill Sergeant Mitchell Davis, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Drill Sergeant Mariah Douglas, Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. Drill Sergeant Andrew Felix, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Drill Sergeant Justin Francis, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Drill Sergeant Christopher Fritzler, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Drill Sergeant Brittany Gant, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Drill Sergeant Martin Guerrero, Fort Benning, Georgia. Drill Sergeant Michael Haney, Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. Drill Sergeant John Hernandez, Fort Benning, Georgia. Drill Sergeant LaQuincy Hutcherson, Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. Drill Sergeant Jacob Imlay, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Drill Sergeant Maurice Jackson, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Drill Sergeant Samuel Johnson, Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. Drill Sergeant Christopher Knight, Fort Benning, Georgia. Drill Sergeant Alexander LaCourse, 108 Training Command. Drill Sergeant Irvin Landa, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Drill Sergeant Jacqueline Lawson, Fort Sill, Oklahoma. Drill Sergeant James Lemons, Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. Drill Sergeant Bonifacio Luna, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Drill Sergeant Kaniala Makanani, Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. Drill Sergeant Henry Makuakane, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Drill Sergeant Charles Mansfield, Fort Benning, Georgia. Drill Sergeant Gregory Mark, 108 Training Command. Drill Sergeant Danilo Mateo, Fort Sill, Oklahoma. Drill Sergeant Robert Mills, Fort Benning, Georgia. Drill Sergeant Michelle Morado, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Drill Sergeant Michael Paulicki, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Drill Sergeant Lorena Perella, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Drill Sergeant Christopher Reeves, Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. Drill Sergeant David Reed, Fort Benning, Georgia. Drill Sergeant Carlos Rueda, 108 Training Command. Drill Sergeant Jerome Shaw, 108 Training Command. Drill Sergeant Neil Shearer, Fort Sill, Oklahoma. Drill Sergeant Melissa Smith, Fort Sill, Oklahoma. Drill Sergeant Wesley Sumuletu, Fort Sill, Oklahoma. Drill Sergeant Jacob Tolliver, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Drill Sergeant Amadou Traor, Pennsylvania National Guard. Drill Sergeant Susan Wendland, Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. Drill Sergeant Kenneth White, Fort Benning, Georgia. Drill Sergeant Freddie Williams, 108 Training Command. Drill Sergeant Dakota Wilson, Fort Benning, Georgia. Drill Sergeant Ernest Ziegler, Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. Please join me in a round of applause for the graduating class. At this time, the Leadership Awardee, Drill Sergeant Farina, will present a token of appreciation to Major General McQueen.
Sir, on behalf of Class 002,
The Drill Sergeant Creed is a declaration of their unwavering commitment to the ideals this nation was founded upon and will continue to guarantee. At this time, Drill Sergeants, past and present, please stand as the graduating class recites the Drill Sergeant Creed. The Drill Sergeant Creed is not the creed for every non-commissioned officer in the Army. The honor and privilege is given to these non-commissioned officers to transform American sons and daughters, civilians into soldiers, to fight and win the wars of this great nation. This will defend.
I am the drill sergeant.
I will assist each individual in their efforts to become a highly motivated, well-disciplined, physically and mentally fit soldier, capable of defeating any enemy on today's modern battlefield. I will instill pride in all I train, pride in self, in the Army, and in country. I will insist that each soldier meets and maintains the Army standards of military merit and courtesy, consistent with the highest traditions of the U.S. Army. I will lead by example, never requiring a soldier to attempt any task I will not do myself. But first, last, and always, I am an American soldier, sworn to defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. I am Drill Sergeant.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing of the Army song and remain standing for the departure of the official party.
Bring
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated as the drill sergeants of Class 002 after 1 take over the building. You'll be able to join them shortly.
He's coming up.
ACUs, soldiers, soldiers, they keep rolling along.
You won't believe what I see.
You won't believe what I see
In the army.
in the army.
You won't believe what I see.
You won't believe what I see
In the army.
in the army.
Fall around.
All around,
Fall around.
all around,
Falling down.
falling down
On the ground.
on the ground.
Hot sand.
Hot sand,
Taliban.
Taliban,
Tan boots.
tan boots,
ACUs.
ACUs,
Soldiers.
soldiers,
Soldiers.
soldiers.
Rolling along.
They keep rolling along.
You won't believe what I see.
You won't believe what I see
In the army.
in the army.
You won't believe what I see.
You won't believe what I see
In the army.
in the army.
IEDs.
IEDs
In the streets.
in the street,
Fall around.
all around,
Fall around.
all around,
Falling down.
falling down
On the ground.
on the ground.
Hot sand.
Hot sand,
Taliban.
Taliban,
Tan boots.
tan boots,
ACUs.
ACUs,
Soldiers.
soldiers,
Soldiers.
soldiers.
This will defend.
On behalf of the Tomahawk and Cadre of the United States Army Drill Sergeant Academy graduating class, we'd like to thank you for your attendance at today's ceremony. This will defend.